Oh, my word! My dear patient! My lovely little butterfly! You've finally awoken! After so long! Thank goodness! Thank God! Thank me. Thank me. There's a world where you can wake up and no matter my skill, my ability, my drive, and your need to follow me back, I can't help but believe we ebbed and flowed between it all the while we worked the knife. But that doesn't matter, and it will never matter again. It's all better now. All better. See? No. Don't sit up, dear. Don't sit up. You have to relax. I almost consider you as fragile as a real butterfly at a time like this. Delicate and wispy and weightless. You need to rest at a time like this. At a time when you're in as numbing of a pain as that. I can hardly imagine it myself. Would you care for some breakfast? You've been really out of it for a few days now, and you're going to need to eat and drink to keep up your strength. You're so weak. I bet you can't even lift any of your limbs, so stop with the fuss until you're better. Though I have been feeding you intravenously here and there, we both know that you deserve so much better than that. You can taste the love of home cooking through the nutrients in your bloodstream, and let me assure you that these pancakes are full of it. Love, that is. Love. You can't feel your legs? Well, what do you think I meant when I claimed you were in a numbing pain? I'm frankly surprised you aren't feeling it more overtly all over. That spinal anesthesia is wicked stuff. But it is as loving as an angel within the codeine scene. If you let it grip you, it'll never let you go. And you've practically lost your chance to hold on to it. Now, say, ah. Well, it's not like you're gonna feed yourself. Not at a time like this. Not when you need all the love and time and care you do. And not at a time when I'm so happy to provide it. After all, what would be the alternative? You're my dearest patient, and I'm your doctor. If I didn't care for you, I'd be denying practically everything I've ever known. And you all the love you truly deserve. Come on now. Say, ah. The spinal anesthesia should be wearing off by now. Lord knows it didn't wear off during the procedure, and considering the fact you woke up at all, well, let's just say that a world of pain is coming for you hard and fast. A world of pain only I can alleviate. A world of pain I'll only alleviate if you do what I ask of you. Especially at a time like this, where it's all for your own good. But then again, isn't that every decision I make? For you? For the sake of you? The procedure. When I say that I do everything for the sake of you, I am not kidding. I would never joke about something so serious to me as you, your life, and your health. Your health might as well be a barometer for me and my love. My ability to love you, and your ability to reciprocate it. I am devoted, day and night, to doing whatever needs to be done, whatever needs to be said, whatever it takes to maintain your health, as I see necessary. But of course, you do not make it easy. It's not your fault. It's barely even your own body's fault. After all, can you truly blame a corpse for festering when its rot isn't even its own? I wouldn't blame a sickly body for attracting pestilence like a moth to a flame, especially when you've refused to recognize you're even sick to begin with. You're sick. You're terribly, terribly sick, but what makes it that much more terrible is how frequently you fight me about it. Fight and lie and fight and lie and fight me. The truth. The reality in which we both happen to reside. The world where you are sick. So very, very, very sick. And very, very deluded. A symptom of that very same illness we both know you possess. Deep, deep down. I think you've long since realized it too. It must be why you fight so viciously. To prevent from making it true, from the one source you have to confirm it. That's the only thing I can think of to explain why you are the way you are, and why you would do the things that you so blatantly do. You are as combative as you are listless, as you are anxious, as you are resistant. When I let you sit as free as you are right now, you thrash and you scream and you bite with all you have and all you are. When I strap you down for your own safety, you cry even louder, make the procedure all the harder, as if you've never even considered that you're fighting the one thing that's keeping your heart beating. As if you've never even considered that your constant fighting breaks my damn heart every single day. And yet I kneel at your side all the same. But nothing compares to what you did on Friday. You probably don't remember it very well. I've all but turned it into a bad dream, a constructed illusion by an unconscious mind in which the birth of sleep brings monsters wearing the faces of friends, but no, not at all. Not at all. As I cut the green peppers for your dinner, I heard the sound of the creaking of the floorboards and the whining of the bed. I decided to give you the benefit of a blind eye just this once after you so graciously earned private bathroom privileges a few weeks ago, and I continued my cutting, and, well, I didn't hear the door close. Did I? Not at all. Not the squeak of the hinges, nor the subtle wooden slam that was supposed to follow. I heard nothing but the sticky sound of bare feet on a tile floor. The sound someone makes when they move from a bedroom to the dining room, a mere few feet away from the kitchen and the back door at once. And not once could I hear the anticipatory beat of a loving heart pounding in your chest, the kind I could only expect to hear if you were walking through the kitchen, to even consider giving me a second glance in the slightest. No. Instead, I heard, over the bubbling pots and slicing of green peppers, slight fiddling on the knob. Not the kind where you twist it around frantically in distress over it being locked, but a slow, rolling motion that only relented with the sound of it turning one way slowly before being forced back into its original position with a slight ring. I wasn't going to think anything of it. Really, I tried so hard to ignore it. Consider that maybe your terrible sickness had left you delirious and forgetful enough to forget where you are, within the closest thing you have to a true home now. It stung to consider it, but I did. I really, really did. And then I figured that maybe you would leave the door when you figured out it was locked, and stand by my side. Maybe help me cut green peppers. I didn't need any more green peppers than I already had, but how would you know? But then, over the bubbling pots and the slicing of the knife and the beeping of the oven timer and my own loud, incredibly loud thoughts, I refused to ever consider that you would betray me, even in a state where you couldn't remember who I was or where you were. But then I heard a clicking in the doorknob. A click, clicking of the doorknob. And then I knew. There's a different sickness that's infesting your soul. One that cannot be cured by medical means. Not traditionally, anyhow. And this sickness, your sickness, was far too malignant to be cured when you fought me the way you did. Your delusions had long since passed from mild quibbles at your own expense and a bit of thrashing into something far more serious. You were out of it enough to consider escaping the home of the one who loves and cares for you more than anybody else on this earth, but lucid enough to realize that you had to sneak out if you were ever going to succeed. Even if your sneaking wasn't as subtle as you wished for it to be, with me only a tepid few feet away, you're sick enough to not know that you're sick. And you're sick enough to consider yourself well. If you were to wander out in the early hours of a graveyard shift, I can't imagine what you would do. Or, even worse, what could happen to you? You're already moody and anxious with a tendency to lash out into extreme acts of violence. And for as much as I love you and your beautiful soul that relinquished itself to your still beating heart, I can't imagine that everybody would be as loving as I am in the face of a breakdown like the ones I've seen. This sickness, this disease of the mind, it's a parasite. It's a honeybee dying on someone's porch because the worm infesting its brain deemed it in its own best interest, even as its host dies, fulfilling its wants and desires. The bee has to be aware on some level that the thing inside of it is killing it. It has to be when it can't even fly in a straight line, but all its body can do is execute the commands granted to it. Its body is the very thing that's forcing it to die from a wrath that comes from the head. The heart and the mind cannot be saved so long as the body acts on the whims of the infection that ravages them both. Your delusions might be the one thing that render you truly sick in a traditional sense of the word, but your body is the one that is enacting the violence spread upon you. Limiting its potential to harm you as much as it does is the one thing we can hope for in a world where you'd sooner consider me a kidnapper or enemy over a lover and a friend. So I've limited its potential to harm you. It's best if you keep from fussing with the stitching. Lord knows I haven't decided if the rot has been cut from the supple flesh enough to end the nightmare you seem to think you've been living with. What'd I do to you? Well, what needed to be done, my dear butterfly? I cut your wings. The amputations were the only hope in stopping the infection from leaving you for dead. Though, that's not to say this wasn't an arduous experience on its own. I mean, I'm totally willing to recognize that it might be a little extreme, and maybe deciding to take both of your legs off at once during the same procedure was a little bit too ambitious for all the blood you've lost, but to be fair, you only woke up once during the entire month-long procedure. For neither a surgeon nor an anesthesiologist, I would not call that terrible. Would you? Right above the knee. I let you dream a little dream for a little while, and then I broke the bones in your legs until the bone was splintery and crunchy, and easily removable. And then I began to saw into the flesh. Of course, all the fragments would have to be removed, but it helps to remove the bone for a cleaner, smoother cut of the flesh. Trust me when I say that even though I may lack the title of surgeon in the holistic sense of the word, I've had a lot of practice. A lot of practice. Enough practice to smooth uneven areas of bone and seal off blood vessels and nerves before bandaging you up, though I still haven't figured out if I'm satisfied. It's the only reason I haven't closed the skin flaps yet. Might as well leave the area nice and accessible, just in case further malignance pops up. But we can figure that out together. Can't we? We're going to be figuring out a lot of things together, my dearest and most darling of patients, and I'll be with you every step of the way. After all, you need me. You've always needed me, and now you need me now more than ever. In the state you are now, you can't even be fitted for a prosthetic if you were to ever to hope to walk again. But you'll never need to so long as I am here to carry you. And if your vocal cords were ever to be cut, I'd speak in your name. And if you were to be blinded, I would allow you to draw your warmth from my voice alone. I bend the knee to you, my love, especially when you can't even do that for yourself anymore. As for your arms, well, there was a time when I considered letting you keep them for the sake of convenience on all parts. The ability for you to entertain yourself when I am too busy or too far away to care for you with as much devotion as you deserve at the altar of our little makeshift hospital we call home. But at one point during the procedure, well, I never claimed to be an anesthesiologist, now, did I? But at one point, you woke up. You don't remember this, of course, the same way that a month under anesthesia and a day are just as hard to distinguish from each other, but you thrashed with your recently amputated legs, and you flailed your non-amputated arms around, and you screamed like the concept of the devil itself was rattling around your soul, and, I mean, I'm a blasphemy before what God type, but you are out of control like some kind of hunted, wounded animal, and, well, in your flailing, you just so happened to get a few good hits in, and, well, with the knowledge that you're not just a danger to yourself and, well, all that, I can never let the patient I love the most become a danger to me. I could never let you become a hindrance in my love of you. So I did what needed to be done to keep you healthy and safe with me, no matter what your own mind may be trying to convince you. This is what's best for you. This is what you need. But don't worry. Through trial and tribulation, I'll be here for you, helping you along each and every single step of your path. Because now we can walk it together. Maybe if you're particularly good, I'll be able to get you fitted for a prosthetic. I'd bet you like that, wouldn't you? We don't have to talk about what would happen if you were bad. Now, do we? Because you're not going to be bad. You'll never be bad again so long as you have me here to love and care for you. Won't be able to do anything bad, speak anything bad, and if it comes to it, even think any of your unhealthy thoughts. Could any other doctor really do anything like this for you? You need me. Now, say ah.